Hey guys, my name is Zinia and you're watching Desimartini. Today we have with us the man who, with his Kaushal, has entered all our hearts. It's none other than Vicky Kaushal, who's ready with his upcoming film, Sardar Udham. Hi Vicky, welcome to Desimartini.
Thank you, Zinia. Thank you.
So, can you pinpoint on one thing that made you instantly say yes to this project?
Two things: Sardar Udham and Shoojit Sircar.
Okay.
Yeah, Sardar Udham is a folklore that I've been hearing as a kid. Since a kid, I belong to a Punjabi family. My ancestral home is just 2 hours away from Jallianwala Bagh. So I've been hearing stories I've been raised with these stories of Jallianwala Bagh, Shahid Bhagat Singh, Sardar Udham Singh, the freedom struggle. I was very familiar to the folklore of Sardar Udham Singh, and then when I got to know that Sujit Sarkar is making this film, and he's been wanting he wants me on the film, it was just like a dream come true for me.
Wow. Also, the fact that you are collaborating with Shoojit Sircar is something that we have all been looking forward to. The shoot of the film was finished in 2019, and the wait has been pretty long.
Yeah, in fact, we were quite lucky to finish our shoot right before the lockdowns had started. The
Okay.
lockdown started in the last week of March, and we finished the film in the first week of March in 2020. So
Oh,
it was
wow.
really in the nick of time that we finished the film. So while the pandemic was going on in due time, then the film kept going, getting ready in the post production stage. And then finally, yes, after this long wait, we are finally being able to come out with the film.
Okay. Also, like Shujit had earlier said that he had waited for 21 years to make this film. And now that the film is coming out, theaters are also opening. Do you feel it would have been better if you would have waited? Because the film was made for the big screens.
सी वो तो कोई बोल नहीं सकता कि क्या बेटर होता क्या नहीं होता दैट्स अ वेरी imaginative process. So that we don't know for sure. But the thing is that you have to see what's more important to the film. What is more important to the film is that the film reaches out to the widest audience possible. We want to reach to the Indian diaspora across the globe, to for them to revisit their history and get to know their unsung hero, and also to the entire world at large as well, because we want the world to never forget that something like Jallianwala Bagh had happened in India, so that we don't end up committing same, similar mistakes again in life. So that became a more important thing, and with Amazon Prime Video, we are getting to cater to the entire world at the same time. It's getting released in 240 countries at the same time. Of course, it's a great thing that the theaters are reopening and we are getting a sense of normalcy after so long, that people will be allowed to go back to the theaters, and it's a great thing. I would be one of them who would be wanting to go back to the theaters as an audience, and watching films over there. So I think it's a very interesting time where films are going to be out on OTT and theaters both at the same time, and the audience will get to choose which one they want to watch and how.
Right. Also, the fact that, like you said, it's going to reach to the widest possible audience is the best thing. Vicky, when you play characters like Sardar Udham Singh, who existed in real life, who's a legend, there are things that people will be sensitive about. So, if you get something wrong, people would be there criticizing it. So, when you take up a project like this, does this pressure somehow bother you?
Bother me. See, the thing is, whenever you take a biopic, and of course, biopic of a nature of playing a freedom fighter, you always know that you have to approach making this film with a lot of sensitivity, with a lot of responsibility, and with a lot of truthfulness. Fortunately, with a team like Sujit Sarkar and Ronnie Lahiri, you can be rest assured that they will make this film with utmost respect and sensibility. And they are very emotional about this subject. They are very, like, the one thing that I'm really proud of is that we have made this film with a lot of integrity. And tomorrow, if anybody has a problem, it's okay. We are it's a great thing that a film would open up a discussion. If somebody is coming from a different point of view, nobody can go back in time and say कि history में यही हुआ था. It's our interpretation, it's Sujita's interpretation of how he saw this freedom fighter as. But tomorrow, if somebody stands up saying that nahi, this should have been this way or that way, of course we are ready to have a healthy debate, healthy discussion on that on the right platform. where we get to understand different point of views. Our point of view on this film is based on heavy research of years. We have backed it with complete facts. And if somebody else comes with other set of facts and other truths and whatever, which probably we were not aware of, we are 100% open to discussions. What is more important is that we keep these figures and their ideologies alive. That is what is more important. What us being right or wrong is not important. We need to discuss them and we need to keep them alive, who have given their lives for our freedom.
Absolutely. And like it has been said in the trailer, and like that, the one dialogue that stayed with, I think, all of us, tell them I was a revolutionary. It's brilliant. Also, when you play a character like Sardar Udham, who, he was 19 and he was executed when he was 40. So there is 21 years of wait, 21 years of patience to avenge. So, what was that one scene, if you could tell us, one scene that you particularly had goosebumps when you were shooting it?
I think the recreation of Jallianwala Bagh, that portion in the film was very hard hitting, not just to me as an actor, but to everybody present on set. It was really uh, heart wrenching and numbing to be in that space that we were trying to recreate. Because even if it was a recreation, but to just sense some realism in that space is a very haunting experience. And then to realize that there were people who actually lived it. That bloodbath, they were on the receiving end of that bloodbath, where they had nowhere to go. They were all caged up in this one ground, 20,000 people, one entry, one exit, and over there, there's a full brigade of army which is just firing bullets at you till their bullets got emptied. There were, you know, people who were just like children, from grandparents to parents and brothers and sisters, and it's just it is horrifying, what has happened. And that's why it's just important for us to show this to the world, that this had happened, so that in today's time where everything is so volatile, we don't end up going into a direction where somebody makes this kind of a mistake again against another human being. So it's important for us to remember our past so that we don't condemn the same mistakes again.
When you were saying this, I felt the goosebumps right here when you were talking about it. So I can understand what the entire crew and cast would have felt while it was being recreated. Also, when you play a character of this zone, how do you get out of that zone? Or what does it impact you in real life?
It takes its own time. It does. Subconsciously, you don't realize it. You don't consciously walk and talk like that character all the time after you're done finishing that film. But subconsciously, kahin na kahin, there's some shift that has happened that you also probably don't realize. It's sometimes people closer to you, your friends, your brother, your mother would say, "Ki yaar, you're behaving a little, you're silent these days. You don't talk much these days," and that's when you realize there's probably been a shift. And that with time, it kind of automatically, apne aap, it kind of goes out of your system. Sometimes you finish one film and you have to get on to the next film, so you don't have a choice but to kind of dive into some other world, some other character. But some things do stay back and then they take their own time to kind of get out of your system.
More so because, like you said, you had wrapped up the film in the first week of March, and then there was the pandemic. So there's already so much of uncertainty around you. And you have played a character like Sardar Udham. I can understand I mean, I can't understand what you might have been going through.
Yeah, it's always a mixed bag here. Sometimes it gets so intense that your system is wanting to get out of that space, and sometimes it's so seeped into you subliminally that you don't realize that it's inside you, and it takes its own organic time to come out of you. If there are parts and characters where you play where you have been talking in a different dialect for 3 months, be it a Gujarati dialect or a certain kind of dialect, then वो कई बार होता है in a more physical way that it's difficult to kind of get that out of your system. क्योंकि कई बार आप एक फिल्म करते हो जिसमें यूपी डायलेक्ट है और 3 महीने से आप यूपी डायलेक्ट में बात किए जा रहे हो, और अचानक से व्हेन यू कम बैक होम you don't, वो आती है बार बार, वो बीच बीच में आती है, you don't intend to speak in UP dialect, but वो बीच बीच में आ जाता है because you're so used to it,
हाँ.
so those kind of physical traits are sometimes there, but this is a more kind of internal kind of a role, it's not something that you have to take up a dialect, you have to take up a body language or something that that didn't leave your system. But when it's more internal, then it takes that much kind of a longer and more on a subconscious level to kind of leave you.
आपने तो डुबकी तभी लगा दी थी अपने फर्स्ट फिल्म के साथ विद मसान. यू कॉन्कर्ड योर फियर विद द फर्स्ट फिल्म इटसेल्फ. तो अभी तो well, every film has its own challenges, but yes, you conquered some of your biggest fears. Did you conquer any fear with Sardar Udham?
Conquered any fear? I don't think it was about my own personal fears attached to this film, at least, because I only have one strong fear about deep underwater, experiences and water bodies. वो मुझे बड़ा fear होता है. तो चाहे वो पिछली फिल्म भूत थी जिसमें बहुत अंडर sequences थे तो बहुत डर लगा था. चाहे वो मसान हो, when I learned how to swim only for that one scene. So that डर बिल्कुल पूरी तरह गया नहीं है, थोड़ा थोड़ा है. बट इस फिल्म में ऐसे कोई पर्सनल फियर नहीं था दैट आई वाज टैकलिंग.
Okay, good, because Bhoot mein to it was like two fears that you were conquering at once. Horror film, uske sath being underwater. So yes. What's the one question that you have answered the most?
Tell me about your prep for the film.
Okay. आपने गाना सुना था, मुझे वही याद है.
Yeah. In the beginning, Sujita had sent me a music piece to kind of get into the world, get into like the mood of the film, to kind of understand what that state of mind of the person could be. And that's how he gives briefs. It's in a very Sufi way. It's in a very deep way that he gives you briefs.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Vicky, for joining with Desimartini, for taking out your time. It was lovely chatting to you. Like
Thank
always.
you, Zinia. Thank you so much. Your energy is very contagious. It's lovely.
Thank you so much. That's such a big compliment.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Bye.